there has to be a background on which all these has to be seen. Like, for example, we see the world pictures very vividly, and to see the world picture, from where is the world picture going to hang around on its own? Science is trying in its own way to find out where this world is coming from, issuing forth from, and they are trying to find out particle after particle going down to string, and they are right now in the stage where they say it is all only small, fiber rubber band like vibration that is taking place, and it's because of that. And that is also not going to stop. Once they understand that a little bit, something else will come in, and it is going to go on. But one thing is clear: there has to be a building block, or there has to be an adhisthana or a background upon which all these appearances are seen. If for any appearance, there has to be a background. Without a background, like how we saw, a screen is needed to project all the film that has been shot, and only based on that, on the availability of the screen, we are able to see the images. Similarly, for the world appearance to take place, world appearance is nothing. Same if you take the analogy, the world appearance, the world is appearing on what it is appearing. Like what is Sachitananda Parabrahma is what is the adhisthana of everything. This is the core of Vedanta, as we have been seeing for a long time now. And that again was given very vividly in one of the poems in Ekatma Panchakam. So after Ekatma Panchakam is over, we also thought how we also were seeing in between how important it is for us to really practice what we learn, what we study, whatever Shravana we do, how it is imperative or most compulsory that we follow it up with the process of introspecting the studies, that is Mananam. Because we saw the example also that even if you are good, if you have studied whatever is given in your textbook, if you go to an exam, even if the question is asked is a little complicated, is a little complicated or a little contrived, we will be struggling because we know only to think exactly what the way we have studied in the textbook. But if a writer is is posted in the form of a question in place of a theorem, we need to apply the theorem that we have studied and try to solve the problem in hand. This is the application. Similarly, in our studies, we have studied, we are okay, fine. Satchitanandam is there. From the Satchitanandam, just like a spark, something came out, and that small thing became I, and that I got naturalized inside the body. And now we think body is our boundary. Beyond that, our body, beyond the boundaries of our body, everything is external. All this we have been reading, but people like Sivaprakasa Pillai, as we saw in the last session, were able to sit back and ask so many questions around what they have studied and try to convince. First of all, our mind, at the level of our mind, intellect, we need to be convinced about what we have studied. Only then we'll be able to apply it in some kind of a practice, or even we'll have the eligibility to post question like, who am I? Otherwise, Bhagavan has told, if you have a doubt, if you have a doubt, the doubter, he has told, that is, if any thought arises, ask to whom the thought is arising. Yes, we will sit back, some thought will come definitely, and we will go and ask, to whom is this thought arising? And Bhagavan has already told, the answer will be I. So what we'll do is, in this stage, we will verbalize exactly what Bhagavan has told. We won't try to analyze, or we won't try to wait to see what is happening, because we have not gone through that process. So to whom it is appearing, I will ask. Okay, immediately I've written the book, say to I. Okay, I myself will answer to me. Then he says, put the question, who am I? I will do that. Who am I? I'll ask. And then I'll get stuck. Nothing will happen. I won't go anywhere beyond. I'll just either draw a blank stare, or I will try to wait for an answer, or I will try to, the mind will lose its patience. It will come back again. It will lose its calm. We have tried to suppress the mind with difficulty, and the suppressed mind, after some time, in anticipation of something, will jump out and try to conceptualize, try to give some answer to that question on its own accord, which is not the right thing to do. Why all this is happening is because we have not taken our time to sit back and analyze whatever we have studied. Okay, Bhagavan in the book called Who Am I, or in Upadesa Saram, has given so many statements, has given so many inputs. So we have not sat back and analyzed each and every one statements that was given by Bhagavan to really understand intellectually what it is and to understand all things around it. We are only just taking one statement and trying to go by that. But people like Muruganar and Siva Prakasham Pillai, they all did it very differently. They went back, they questioned themselves again and again and again. Okay, he asked, Siva Prakasham Pillai asked, okay, there is this feeling called I rising. Why is it rising? From where is it rising? Number two, okay, it is considering itself as body. Why is it taking body as its? Why is it considering body as itself? Why not something else? So he was trying to eliminate all unwanted things and trying to exactly understand what Bhagavan was teaching. And with that background, with that clarity, if he is able to sit for a vichara, a session of vichara, his mind is going to be far more accommodative to the process, because it's not going to be in an agitation mode. It is not going to immediately expect an answer or whatever, because we know there is nothing called an answer, but it will wait. And at that time, when we have done so much of introspection, the I feeling will come out very clearly for us to focus and stay on. All we have to do is stay on the feeling called I without leaving it. Like we saw, leaving out all external thoughts and staying on the thought of I. So only when we do all these processes, this I is going to shine for us and show itself more clearly, so that we'll be able to hold on to it without exception, without giving any room for any other thought. With the exception of all thoughts, we'll be able to focus our attention clearly on the I. This is the importance of the stage called Mananam. Once the Mananam also gets very strongly internalized and we keep on doing Mananam. Okay, today I've studied, okay, last 2 days I've studied something. Next 2 days I'm not going to take up some new slokas and study. Instead, I'm going to only go through what I have already learned and try to make more meaningful sense out of what I have studied, so that I will understand my next steps, what I should be doing now will come to me. That Mananam over a period of few after a few kinds of internalization will result in the next stage called Nididhyasanam. Nididhyasanam is nothing but putting the Mananam into the output of the Mananam into practice, that is doing the actual vichara in our case. In some other marga, it can be sitting on meditation or anything. That is actually putting the studies after reflection into its working mode is called Nididhyasanam. So we will be able to progress to Nididhyasana after this stage. So in order to achieve all that, we should stop, take a break from our reading new slokas or reading new poems or prose or whatever for a while, from time to time. We have to, nothing wrong. That is why all this is written. All this are written by Bhagavan. Bhagavan is written. Whatever work Bhagavan is written, we'll have to ultimately read every single word that he has written, no doubt about it. But at what sequence and at what pace we learn and what is our daily routine based on all these teaching is something we need to sit, think for ourselves and do a formulation. So in that context, I thought it would be useful that we have studied in about 7 or 8 sessions, we covered the 30 slokas of Upadesa Saram. So now we'll try to give a quick refresh of Upadesa Saram and see what was written in Upadesa Saram, with how much is our remembrance of all that we have seen in Upadesa Saram. And then we are not going to spend as much time as we did elaborately, because we have already done, and those videos are also there in our channel. So whoever wants will be able to play them and listen to them according to their own pace. But now we will just quickly run down the slokas and see the quick import of the meaning of the slokas and what they actually convey to us, so that we'll be able to use all these points and sit in our Mananam more strongly. This is the idea of today's session. Initially we saw this is in detail about how Upadesa Saram came about. It was written for the sake of this rishis who are in Darukavana, in Daruka forest, who are totally into Karma Marga. And Karma Marga, again, without any consideration for a deity, without any consideration for an entity called God. For them, Karma itself was God. So they were doing all these yagas, yajnas, and havans and all those things. And for anything, if we have problem, normally our natural inclination or habit is to seek out to our God. We all are, so we all were brought up in that kind of an environment where God is an integral part of our day-to-day life. And so if we have any problem, our elders have taught us to only to return or to retire back to God and ask Him, what should I, God, I'm in a difficult position, what should I do? We will normally ask. This has become habitual to us. Similarly, for these people in rishis in Daruka forest, the action, the karma was habituated. Anything, they will immediately light a fire and start doing, invoking, the ordained, the karma. If they want some wealth, there is some prescribed action. If they want health, there is some prescribed action. For everything, there is some prescribed action. And these are all the Purva Mimamsa, that is the Karma Kanda part of our Vedic system. Our Veda system, Vedas are divided into Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda. In Karma Kanda, what happens is it's all about rituals. It's all about rituals. How to create a big ritualistic setup. What should be the dimension of the Yagasala, and all those, and what all materials should be used, and where they should be procured from, what time it should be done, and all the description of conducting a yaga is the Karma Kanda portion of our Vedic system, of our Vedas. All four Vedas has a Karma Kanda and a Jnana Kanda, or Uttarakanda, or Purva Kanda, or Uttarakanda. So now, after these are all called Purva Mimamsa. These people who are doing all this were they are also Vedantic people. They are also Vedic people, because for them the Pramana is only Vedas. So they are very much considered as Vedic people only. In fact, they are exclusively Vedic, I can say, in that sense, because for them karma is everything. And at that time, because of all this, a lot of gurus came about, and they started teaching that this is not the primary purpose, this is only a secondary purpose. Doing all this yaga and yajna and all this is only secondary purpose. The primary purpose is something else. So they were trying to impart this teaching. So while Muruganar was writing the major work called Ramana Sannidhi Murai, it's called Ramana Sannidhi Murai. And in Ramana Sannidhi Murai, when he came to this portion called Thiru Undiyar, where he was glorifying Bhagavan Ramana as all the gods that is known to us in Hinduism, in the Hindu tradition, like Rama, Krishna, Shiva, Vinayaka, Muruga, all lords were called for him. For Muruganar was only Bhagavan Ramana, who graciously takes all these forms for in each period of time to do some to achieve something for the welfare of the people of those times. Similarly, so at that time, when Muruganar was composing this, he came to the story of how these Daruka forest rishis were conducting all this karma without any care for a god or whatever, and how they encounter Shiva, and how Shiva defeats them completely, and then how they become humble after a period of time, after knowing the superiority of the god in front of them. They realize there is some power which we have not bothered to know all these days, which we have totally ignored all these days. They came to know about such a power. Having come to know that, they requested to the god to teach them the truth, what it is. We definitely thought our karma will never ever fail us, but this time it has miserably failed us, which means there is something much bigger than karma, much powerful than karma. And what is that? Please teach us. In all their humble, they became so humble, and put forth this request to Lord Shiva. While Muruganar came to this portion, he requested in turn his own Ramana Shiva, who was sitting in front of him, to give the instructions that the same Ramana Maharshi in form of Shiva, gave to those Daruka forest munis in those days. Muruganar requested the same ocean of compassion called Ramanam to give the same teaching to us. And Bhagavan graciously wrote this 30 slokas, which is now called as Upadesa Undiyar. It was called Undiyar, as we saw, because it was written in a meter called Undiyar. It is a Tamil poetical meter. It is not necessarily a meter, but it ends with a word called Undi Para, and so it became popularly known as Undiyar, and you can call it as a meter also in that sense, because it's got a unique construction. It got three lines. It's got 4 words in the first line, 3 in the second line, and 3 in the third line. This is how it is constructed. And then after constructing it in Tamil, after composing the whole composition in Tamil, Bhagavan translated that into Sanskrit, and that is what we are having in form of Upadesa Saram in Sanskrit, which was composed by Bhagavan. And then later on, he composed that in Malayalam also and Telugu also. We have seen all these compositions of Bhagavan in all these languages also, and we have shared the text and the document. Let me also try. I hope everybody will be having it. If not, I'll try to put all this, whatever I get, into a common repository, so that anyone can, if they don't find it, can just log in to Drive, and I'll share that Drive so that people can just pull out whatever they want. I'll try to segregate it subject-wise. So this is the background or the genesis of Upadesa Saram, which we have already seen, which we wanted to recollect today. And so one thing that has to be borne in mind is, when Bhagavan started to compose this, he was doing it for the sake of the rishis of Dharuka forest, who are totally ingrained in this karma, that they had to be slowly brought out of that thought process and inculcated into the Jnana Marga. So he could not do it straight away. He could not, if he started with the 16th sloka, for example, which is from where the direct teaching of Bhagavan starts. If he had done that, these people would have really struggled. They would not have, and they would have lost faith. Even the little faith that they had in whatever they did, that would have gone, and they would not have developed the strength needed enough to do the vichara, and they'll be totally left somewhere. So Bhagavan, so mercifully, so carefully, brings them slowly about. Okay, telling them the nature of karma, the nature of bhakti, the nature of jnana, the nature of yoga, and all that. And then once he settles them down, okay, all these are there, all these are useful in their own way, but they are not everything. There is more to it. And then he starts from the 16th sloka till the completion of Upadesa Undiyar. He teaches he brings about his core teaching. So this is the organization. This is how Bhagavan has done the Upadesa Sara, and we all enjoyed it. I suppose the previous time when we went through it, because the way the progression is very, very, very beautiful. He slowly brings people step by step, tells the power of each one, tells the benefits of each one, and who should be doing each one, because according to each one's station in life, each one's predispositions or their nature of mind, they actually can choose what they want to do at this point in time in their life. So he brings about that also. So with that, we have to bear that in mind. And a lot of people who have studied Upadesa Sara have completely taken, suddenly they'll go through some sloka, let us say, for example, just I'm saying, some 7th sloka, for example, and they will say, see, Bhagavan is clearly given this is Bhagavan's teaching. They don't understand the background of Upadesa Sara or Upadesa Undiyar. They just jump to conclusion that no, Bhagavan says only pranayama is enough for attaining liberation. That is not Bhagavan's teaching, but that Bhagavan has said that for some reason, and the reason is to slowly and steadily make these people, these rishis of the Dharuka forest, and people even today in this current world, there are people who think that karma is everything, and they have to just keep doing this, and they cannot sit in one place for 5 minutes. They cannot sit. You have to run, do this. They may think that they are doing it for the sake of welfare of the society at large, or for the sake of world, or for the sake of humanity. All that they will think, but they just cannot sit. But Bhagavan says, sitting in one place and being yourself is the best that anybody can do to the entire society. This is something a lot of people are missing. They run about all these. How many reformers we are seeing in today's world? They cannot sit. They have to go fight there. There will be one authority who has put a rule, and they will think that this rule is very, very biased. They will immediately pick up a flag, go collect a lot of people around them and protest, and all this is happening. They think they are sacrificing their life for the sake of common good. They miss the point completely that this is not exactly how your victory is going to come about. It is not again the pacifism as taught by Mahatma Gandhi. That is also karma in a lot of ways. Realization of self is the only thing that we need to achieve. Without knowing who you are, to know the world or to rectify the world is a foolish thing, as Bhagavan has mocked a lot of people in that sense. First, without knowing who you are, what problem are you going to solve? That is the fundamental problem right within your heart. And you're not even attempting to solve that, but you are externalizing and running to create a better world, to want to everybody should be wealthy. How is it going to be possible? All this is not going to be possible at all. These ups and downs in this world is going to be there because this is how the nature is. If there is not every place can be a place with this, which is high ground. When there is a high ground, automatically there is a low ground. So everywhere there should be only a high ground. That such an achievement is not going to be possible at all. Like everybody has to be rich, let us say. It's not going to be. But if everybody is got equally rich, who is going to do some menial jobs? It's not going to happen. And you won't stop. The rich, you at this level, you will try to go to a level higher than where you are and try to make the other person menial. So such a society is not, again, we are not too bothered about society. Let us not get too much into the society as an example. I'm just saying, the thing is, all this is the crux. Yes, we should drop all this and come to Bhagavan's way and know yourself first thoroughly before undertaking all these worldly reforms and other things. Without knowing you, if you go into the reforms, it will be like of no use. Now this like this where we started was this, since there are people who are bent like this even today, not only in the days of the rishis of Dwarka. Even today, a lot of people want to keep on doing something, and they will pick up some line here and there from such a teaching of Bhagavan, and they'll say, see, Bhagavan only asked us to do Nishkabya Karma. Bhagavan asked us to do Pranayama. Bhagavan wanted us to do Japa, Puja, and all the things they'll keep doing. But this is not the core teaching. Bhagavan had to build a. So Bhagavan was clearly mentioning that all this are only aid to our sadhana. They will only help us do the sadhana of vichara much better. They will give chitta suddhi at best. They cannot ultimately grant you the liberation or moksha that you are aiming for. Bhagavan has made it very clear. So we have to have this in background while we sit in introspection, while we study Upadesa Saram thoroughly. So he starts in the first three songs are dedicated to karma. What karma is? In the first song, he clearly says, when these people ask Bhagavan, Bhagavan, we have been doing all this karma for all the time, and they never failed us. They have never ever failed us. They always produce results. But why it is not producing results now, according to how we wish? Then he teaches karmam payantaral kattana dana yalkan undi para karmanya. Bhagavan declares karma is jata. Karma cannot give you anything on its own accord because it is not sentient, it's insentient. It is got no, on its own, karma is just nothing. It cannot give you any, anything at all. There has to be one ordainer. So the kadavul that we call in this poem, the God, that God is one who gives the according to the nature of the karma, he is the one who dispenses the fruits of karma. So karma giving fruit is ordained by the God or the karta or the ordainer. Can karma be God? Since karma itself is insentient or jata. This is the first sloka. So this is why he told those rishis, saying that this is why you did not get your desired results from karma, because you are thinking it is all karma that is giving on its own, and you completely ignored the God. You never even bother to appeal to the God or to pray to the God or think about the God. So you are thinking only about the karma, and karma has shown its true colors. that it is jata and it cannot do anything, which has become obvious. And in the second sloka, he explains that why karma is doing karma like this is very, very dangerous. Is வினையின் விளைவு விழி உற்று வித்தாய் வீணை கடல் வீழ்த்திடும் உந்தி பர வீடு தரல் இல்லை உந்தி பர. It means the fruit of actions having perished by experiencing them. Let us say I did some karma. Because of the karma, the ordainer has given me some fruit. Okay, he has given me good or bad according to the nature of karma that I have done, and it has been given to me. Okay, now I have to experience or enjoy or suffer the consequence. Now, after I finish the enjoyment, after I finish the suffering, it is over. But this karma that we have done earlier, despite the karma phala is exhausted, it has been given, you have enjoyed it, it's over. But the karma that you did earlier will stay in form of bija, in form of seed, and they will sprout forth accordingly whenever prarabdha demands them. So what happens? The fruit of action having perished by being experienced in form of pleasure or pain will, as seeds, make one fall into the ocean of samsara. This is why we have samsara again and again, and this is why people like Shankara Bhagavad have many times advised that karma has to be given up totally if you have to progress. You cannot be doing something because whether you do good or not, that action will have to necessarily produce some result, and that result will force you to do some other action, and the chain will never end. So Bhagavad has very clearly told absolutely no job for a sadhak. A sadhak should not do. At best, he can show his palm like this to get some food to eat. That's all. Nothing else should be done by a sadhak. It's a straight statement from Shankara, from Adi Shankara, from Shankaracharya, Bhagavad and Bhagavan also has said in this sloka. So if we keep on doing in the form of bija, that vasana of that karma, vasana or propensities, that is, what it will make you again and again to do that in form of bija. All these vasanas will stay, and they will come forth, and they will keep you going from one life to another, again and again, never give you a break. This is the danger of karma, and he clearly says, Veedu taralillai undi para. It is not going to give you liberation at all. Whatever the karma, whatever the most good karma, you are doing good karma, you are not doing anything bad. But karma is its nature, by its nature, is binding. This is something we have to bear in mind. The third sloka, he goes on. Yes, within that karma, there is another type of karma called nishkamya karma. Karutanu akum nishkamya karmam karuttai tirutti yagadundi para katibari kanbikkum mundi para. Karuttanukku, that is to God. Karuttanukku akum nishkamya davu. Nishkamya karma. Nishkamya karma is a karma that is done without expecting any fruit of karma, by dedicating the entire karma to God. That is, yes, God, you have given me this karma in my hand, I will do it, I have nothing to do with that karma. What happens in this stage is, the katrutva bhava is gone. That is, you are not thinking that you are doing. Bhagavan also many times has told, karma itself is not the danger. The katrutva bhava that we show in while doing that karma, that I am doing this, and bhava is what develops this bija, vasanas in form of bija. Whereas if a karma is done without this bhava at all, by complete dedication of that karma to the ordainer, to the God, to the kartru, so the katrutva bhava is given up. Once you give up the katrutva bhava, then this karma will not bind you, and it will show you the marga to do. It will give you so much of chitta suddhi, the chitta bhala, the strength of mind, all that we say, to do some more bigger sadhanas or more appropriate sadhanas like vichara. It will not allow your mind. It will give you strength of mind in such a way that the mind does not stray away, scatter away, dividing itself into hundreds of thought, and each thought becoming totally weak, and we are not able to focus on anything because the mind dissipates. Here, dissipation of mind is arrested and concentration is developed. That is the advantage of doing nishkamya karma, or the use of doing nishkamya karma. But doing nishkamya karma alone will not give you the. He says clearly, Gati Vari Kandikun, show the path to liberation. Will give liberation, he is never said. So it will show the path. But it is very useful. This nishkamya karma is, if at all you have to do karma, let such karma be nishkamya, not a kamya karma. Kamya karma is something you do a sankalpa. We have seen in household, whenever there is we have a griha pravesh or whatever function, and the pandit will give us all that thing. We'll do the sankalpa, why we are doing what we want and all that volition. These are all kamya karmas. But you don't think about the result. I have to do this, I'm doing it. Let it be grand success or total failure. I have no problem about that. I'm doing it for the sake of the love I have for the God, the love I have for the humanity or whatever, because of the love I have for my God. And let the God is doing, I'm not doing, I'm losing my kartrutva bhava. I'm only being an equipment or a tool in the hands of God to achieve whatever has to be achieved. Again, I'm not deciding what needs to be achieved. Let the bigger power decide about it. Such nishkamya karma will give you chitta suddhi and show you the gati vari, the path to liberation. This is the third. So now, having completed karma, he goes to the puja and the benefits of doing all that. The fourth song, he says, திடமீது பூஜை ஜபமும் தியானம் உடல்வா கூழத்தொழில் உந்தி பர உயர்வாகும் ஒன்றில் ஒன்றும் தீ பர. திடம் இது. This is certain. Puja, japa, and dhyana are actions of body. Puja is done by body, japa is done by speech, and dhyana is done by mind. Are actions done by puja, japa, and dhyana are actions done by body, speech, and mind respectively. Rather than each preceding one, the succeeding one is superior. That is, dhyana is definitely better than japa. Japa is better than puja. But puja is also good, better than doing nothing. I won't do anything. I'll just go do my duty, do my job, I'll come back, earn my salary, enjoy, spend it, invest it, save it, and all that. Better than that is doing puja, definitely. So puja has got its own value. And puja, what generally we use body to do puja. Without the help of the body, puja is not like we have to do so many tasks, preparing the setup for puja, plucking flowers, threading garland, and doing the puja, deepa, doing prasadas, naivedya, and all that is there. So body is what does puja. And japa is done by speech, because that japa is repeating of the name of the God, of your Ishtadeva, whatever it is. You're going to repeat the name again and again and again. Like Arunachala, 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 either vocally with so much of sound or mentally, but speech is invoked. It is a mental voice is clearly giving out the name of the God. It keeps on doing it. Over a period of time, the japa can become ajapa. That is, without your knowledge itself, the japa will start going on within your mind. That is possible. And more than that is dhyana. Dhyana is, we are not using body, we are not using vak, we are just using staying put. With the help of the mind, we are staying put in whatever we conceive of. Like, I like the comely picture of Bhagavan Ramana, who is in front of me, and I can just keep seeing it, and I can just keep concentration, developing my concentration, exclude all other thought and fix our thought on that one interest of ours. It can be whatever. It can be the big hill, Arunachala. It can be Bhagavan's picture. It can be anything. I mean, that's no end to explanation here. So Bhagavan says, the dhyana done is higher than the japa. Japa done is better than the puja. But again, we'll have to understand that the puja, doing that puja is also definitely better than doing nothing. So the order of benefit is given here in this fourth sloka. And in fifth sloka, he says, எண்டூரு யாவும் இறையுரு வாவியன எண்ணி வழிபடல் உந்தி பர ஈசனர் பூசனை உந்தி பர. எண் means 8 in Tamil. Uru, that is 8 forms. Uru means form. 8 forms. All the worship, any 8 forms of the Lord. 8 forms we have seen are nothing but the Panchabhutas, the sun, the moon, and the Jiva. All the Jivas. This is the 8 forms. So, Panchabhutas will always be there in any form. Like I'm seeing something in front of me right now. For example, I see a bottle of water, and you decompose, go on decomposing it to the end. It'll ultimately result to one or more of the Panchabhutas. Akasha, Vayu, Ragni, Rapa, Prithvi. It will lead us to one of the 5 forms of the Panchabhuta. Or if there is light, it can be either sun's light or moon's light. Or it can be, you can see so many Jivatmas we are seeing every time we walk around. And all of them are forms of our Lord. Is something we should imbibe in our mind. Worship any of the 8 forms, thinking that all the 8 forms of the God is good worship or puja. All of them are God's form is something, anything that we, the import is anything that we see. Anything is nothing but the form of a God. They are not other than God. So we are all God. We are all of us without exception have intense faith, immense faith in God. We all love God. We all, like child, we all fall at the feet of God only when we have a problem. So when we develop a habit of seeing anything that is seen to my eyes, or anything that is presented to my ears, or any taste that comes to my tongue, or any feeling that I have, any tactile feeling that we have. So all this is nothing but a form of God, is the thing that we'll have to, is the concept that we'll have to develop. So wherever we see, we are going to see God all over the world, without exception. Even when you are seeing with your eyes closed, with your eyes open, hearing, whatever, it's only God that is presenting to us. So he says, all the 8, and all this, anything that you see or seek or conceive or perceive in this world is a part of this 8 forms, a combination or one of the 8 forms. So think everything is such one of the 8 forms of the God. That is the best puja. That is what Bhagavan says in 5th sloka. 6th he says, வழுத்தலில் வாய்க்குஜபத்தில் விழுப்பமானதம் முந்தி பர விளம்புந்தி யான மீதுந்தி பர. It means, rather than praising God, that is singing the glory of God in form of kirtana, in form of songs or whatever, rather than that, japa is good. Japa is, we saw, repeating the name of the God, repeating just the name of the God alone. Nama, the name of the God is so powerful. The God and the name of the God, they are not separate, they are one and the same. So japa is good than singing in praise of the God. And rather than japa done in loud voice, that is, I sit and say Arunachala, 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 rather than like that, doing it with an internal whisper is much more efficient. That is, without producing a sound, without using your vocal cord, use your internal vocal cord, that is your mind, in form of a whisper. That is more effective. And rather than japa done like a whisper, like that, like within our mouth, that which is done by mind is good. This is mental repetition or manasika japa of your Ishtadeva. And that is what is called as meditation, dhyana, and all that. Just repeat the name of the Lord mentally. Don't even internalize a voice. Like, for example, if you say, you can say Arunachala, Arunachala, like using the vocal cord, or you can sit quiet, produce the Arunachala sound within yourself internally. That is also possible. But here it says, don't even do that. Just the feeling of Arunachala, let it linger in your mind. Your mind is put into use. Use, use the mind. But put, don't chatter, don't verbalize, don't do even a mental noise. Instead, stay on the feeling of Arunachala. Just keep feeling Arunachala mentally. That is better, he says in this sloka. So, the order is being set forth here. And then in the next one, he says, 7th sloka, விட்டு கருதலில் அருணை வீழ்ச்சி போல் விட்டிடாதுன்னலே உந்தி பர விசேஷமா முன்னவே உந்தி பர. And what does it mean is, rather than meditating interruptedly by other thoughts, uninterrupted meditation upon God, like the flow of a river or the flow of a ghee when it is poured from above. There is no gap, right? When the river is flowing, it's just a continuous flow. Likewise, you take a mug full of ghee or clarified butter, or you take oil, or for that matter, pour it from above. It will be one flow. There won't be any gap. So let your meditation be uninterrupted, like the flow of a river, or arjadarya, like the flow of a ghee that is falling down, rather than being interrupted by thoughts. Okay, I'm sitting in meditation. Suddenly some other thought comes, my work related thoughts. Okay, I call somebody, I take my phone, call somebody, finish it, come back to my meditation again, or somebody calls me, I go respond to them, and then I come back. Like, without such interruptions, try to develop a habit of getting into, when you're sitting in your meditation, at the time, let everything else become secondary. Let everything, be it whatever, does not matter. Everything else, let's switch off our phones. Let's not have any kind of an external disturbance. Even if it comes to that, go and tell your people around, saying that the next 1 hour I'm going to sit in concentration. Please do not call me. Whatever it is, however important it is, please, I'll finish and I'll come. After that, we can attend. We have to make such compromises, such understanding, and then sit in meditation. That's what Bhagavan says. Let it be uninterrupted. Even though if we do meditation for only half an hour or 1 hour, during that time, let it be uninterrupted. Here, it does not mean 24 hours you have to sit in meditation. That is not being talked about here at this stage. What is being talked about is, even whatever time you have allocated, whatever time you are sitting for meditation, let that time be uninterrupted and be completely focused on your meditation. This is what we also teach kids. While doing studies, without interruption, just focus. We are happy even if the kid is able to study only for 1 hour, because we know that the span of attention is going to be lost after that. What else can you expect from a kid? But they're happy that without mind thinking of any external things, just focusing on the work in hand is good enough. Same thing for us in meditation. Bhagavan very clearly says, don't allow your mind to attend to other thoughts. Don't allow it to be interrupted by other thoughts. Just stay focused in your meditation. And in the next 8th song, he says, Aniya bhavatin avanahamaagum ananiya bhavame undi para anitenum uttamam undi para. So this is a very important sloka. We have spent quite a lot of time in this sloka previously. And the import of that is, rather than Anya Bhava, Ananya Bhava, done with the conviction, he is I, is indeed the best among all the various kinds of meditation. Like, the duality slowly will have to be eradicated, meaning, like, I sit here in meditation. But the problem, any meditation, anything that uses mind, the world of duality is not going to leave you so easily. It is always there. Like, for example, in meditation, there is always a meditator and an object of meditation. Like, I sitting and doing the meditation is the meditator, and I focus on something that becomes external to me, obviously. So that is the object of meditation. So when you are doing slowly, what he says is that the kind of meditation is Anya Bhava, because we are treating it as Anya, other than us. So let that Anyam drop. And let us come into Ananya Bhava. Like when I'm thinking of Arunachala, let me not think Arunachala is separate, I am separate. Let us internalize Arunachala. My Aham is Arunachala. This is what Bhagavan teaches even in the first song of Arunachala Akshara Manamale. Arunachalam yena ahame ninaipavarahtai verarupai Arunachala. What does it mean? Arunachalam yena aham, in the heart. Or some more tivira devotees, they ahame Arunachala. They think my heart is Arunachala. So they're bringing that Ananya Bhava. Arunachala and I are one and the same. This bhava has to be cultivated while we do the meditation, is what Bhagavan prescribes here. And that Ananya Bhava is the best of all. So Bhagavan wants us to bring in the Ananya Bhava in this 8th sloka. And we'll go to the 9th one. So we have now achieved the Ananya Bhava. Then in the 9th he says, Bhava Balatinal Bhavanadida Sadbhavatirutale Undi Para Parabhakti Tattuvam Undi Para. So what he means in this sloka is, by the strength of meditation, that is the Ananya Bhava that we obtained in the previous song, by the strength of such meditation, the strength of such Ananya Bhava or self-attention, abiding in the state of being, that is Sat Bhava. We have the Sat, our own Sat is there, our own being is there. So slowly we are using the strength that we derived by means of practicing the Ananya Bhava with Arunachala. We are internalizing and saying now, my Sat being is nothing but that, which transcends meditation. So there is no bhavam here, bhavana atita. We are becoming a bhavana atita. We are crossing the boundaries of such bhavanas. And we are going to now only be. See, slowly the concept of Bhagavan's core teaching is opening up. Bhava bhalatinal bhavana atita. Bhavana atita. Satbhava tiruttale undi. Be staying in that satbhava. That is parabhakti. Parabhakti tattuvam mundi para. That is parabhakti that we can achieve. So, by the strength of meditation, abiding in the state of being, which transcends meditation, alone is the truth of supreme devotion. So, he is bringing us the culmination of the highest order of bhakti that we can do. So, after completing the first 3 slokas about karma, now up to the 9th sloka, he is now finished bhakti. Now he is going to the next marga, which is Raja Yoga. But before that, he says in the 10th sloka, Udita Yedatil Odungi Yeruttal Adu Kanmam Bhakti Yumundi Para Atiyoga Jnanamum Mundi Para. It's a very, very, very powerful sloka. That what a lot of us say, I am interested in Karma Yoga, I'm interested in Bhakti Yoga, I'm interested in Raja Yoga, like Hatha Yoga, this yoga, that, this practice. But what are all this? One answers this 10th sloka. Uditta idatil odangi iruttal, meaning abiding, having subsided in the place of rising, in one source, that is a self. That is karma. That is Karma Yoga, that is Bhakti Yoga, that is Raja Yoga, and that is Jnana Yoga. So all these are nothing. All these margas are there just as an aid. But ultimately, what is the aim of any one of that marga for that matter? To not rise as this ego, to be subsided always in the Sachitananda Param by means of keen self-attention. Here he is not even talking about the method, he is just saying, Udita idathil odungi iruttal, that is stay abiding, having subsided in the heart, staying there without rising, is Karma, Yoga, Bhakti and Raja and Jnana Marga. So he sums up the entire Vedanta in just one statement saying you should abide in your heart without raising. That is all, is the crux of the entire Vedanta. Beyond this, there's nothing called Vedanta. You can keep on verbalizing to any end. That's not an issue. But this is all, whichever way you look at it, is the meaning of Vedanta. So in 10th sloka, he does the generalization, and in the 11th sloka, he says, வழி உள்ளடக்க வலைப்படு புட்போல் உளமும் ஒடுங்கூறும் முந்தி பர ஒடுக்க ஓபாயமேதுந்தி பர. He is starting Raja Yoga Marga, that is restraint of breath and manas. So by restricting the breath within, the mind will also subside. By restricting the breath, the mind will also subside like a bird caught in a net. This practice of breath restraint is a device to restrain the mind. So, what he says here is, okay, breath, since it is a little grosser, we let us say my aim is to control my mind. I don't want my mind to jump here and there like a monkey, which is its own nature, but I don't want the mind to do that. I want it to just calmly stay put in a place. If you want that, Bhagavan says, there is a way. By means of controlling your breath, by means of regulating your breath. Pranayama is the technical term that is used for it. If you do pranayama in that way, then what happens? When the breath calms down, the mind also calms down. Why is this happening? When the breath calms down, the mind calms down. He says in the 12th sloka, உளமும் உயிரும் உணர்வும் செயலும் உளவாங்கிளை இரண்டுந்தி பர ஒன்றவற்றின் மூலம் முந்தி பர. So there are two, we have seen this many times, there are two types of mind control. One is mind and breath are two branches which have knowing and doing as their job. Like mind, since it is more subtle, it knows. It does the subtle job of knowing. And the breath, since it is a little gross, it is attributed, it is because of the breath, all the karmas that we do. And it is true also, because when there is no breath, what are we going to do? The body becomes jata. I mean, jata in the real sense, it becomes jata. When the breath withdraws from the body and goes off, the body, we call that as a dead body. The body is dead. For all, it cannot do any karma. Because it was only the force of prana that was impelling the body to do karma. And similarly, mind is the one that makes all the mental projections that we have. It's help of the mind that we see the subtle world. We are able to sit here and imagine something happening in some other place. How is it possible? It's because of the mind. So we do something because of the breath. We conceive something because of the mind. Because they have both mind and breath are inseparable. One is a subtle form, other is a gross form. They are inseparable because both have the same source. Both rises from the same source and sets in the same source. So you control one, the other one is automatically controlled. Okay, by means of some great willpower, I control my mind not doing anything. At that time, if you observe your breath, it will be so calm, it will be in one flow. It won't be violent. Or you control your breath by means of pranayama techniques, the mind will control. So this is what Bhagavan teaches in sloka number 12. And now he is teaching about the nature of mind here in 13th sloka. இளையமோண்டாசம் இரண்டாமோடுக்கம் இளையத்துளதேழும் முந்தி பர ராதுரு மாய்ந்ததேலுந்தி பர. So we have seen subsidence of mind is of two kinds. One is laya or abeyance. The other one is nasa, that is destruction. We have seen many times the example of manolaya. In our deep sleep, every day we go into a totally mindless, mind-free state, and that state is laya, there where the mind is in temporary abeyance. It is not destroyed. Because it is not destroyed, it will come forth again based on the demands of the samskara. Based on how the prarabdha drives it, it will come back again. But the one that is completely, the mind is destroyed, on the one where the mind is destroyed permanently, that is called Mano Nasa. And that will never rise again because it's undergone a permanent death. And that is the state of mukti that we are talking about. That's liberation. Mano Nasa, we have to go to the state of Mano Nasa. Mano Laya, we go every day in deep sleep. But we go not because of our effort, because of our inability to do any more effort, because of our tiredness, because of our fatigue. The mind goes to rest. And that stage is called Manolaya. And the stage called Manona, and all the things that we achieve by pranayama and other acts are only Manolaya. Because the mind only temporarily stays in rest and it rises back again after some time. But in Manonasa, like we sit in contemplation, we sit in dhyana, we sit in vichara, very, very focused with a focused mind. We just keep watching, be self-attentive, watching where the source of mind is, where this mind is coming from. We are watching the eye feeling very closely. Eye will fall down. And that way of dropping the mind, again the mind will not issue forth because it is permanently merged in Sachitananda. This is what we should achieve. But initially, this is okay. First, we have to know what Manolaya is, because Bhagavan has warned many devotees at that time, saying that it's a very dangerous stage in each person's life. Like there is a book called Crumbs from the Table. The Crumbs, I think it was written by Ramana Swarnagiri, by one very great devotee who came to Bhagavan in 30s. And he said he came to Bhagavan exactly in that state. He said the grace of Bhagavan was so high that I was almost going into the path of Laya. A lot of people around me were explaining my state of Laya as a final achievement. But when I came to Bhagavan, Bhagavan totally destroyed my thought, saying that no, this is Laya. Be very careful. This is the biggest trap, because once you go there, you will be convinced that this is the final achievement and you will become a guru. You will start building your own ashram. You will have your disciple. You will start giving discourse, but you will never have, you will be complete on par with the person who is struggling to achieve anything. So be very, very careful. This can be very deceptive stage. He says, so know the difference between Laya. Laya is something that comes about or because of all this, and they will come back again when at the appropriate time. Whereas Mano Nasa done with conscious effort to lose the mind by means of what? By means of who am I, Vichara, will never ever spring forth again, because it's totally lost. It is died to itself. So Bhagavan has given the nature of Manolaya and Manonasa. And in 14th song he says, ஒடுக்க வழியை ஒடுங்கும் ஊழத்தை விடுக்கவே ஓர் வழி உந்தி பர வியோமதனூறு உந்தி பர. So when one makes the mind which has thus subsided, like for example, you've been doing a lot of pranayama, and because of which you have attained that mental peace, you have attained the stage of Manolaya. The moment you realize the wake up from that laya, the moment the mind is gone to rest, complete rest, and after some time it is going to issue forth. Be very watchful when the mind comes again. Focus it again on the feeling of I very strongly. Now, because it has achieved the stage called laya, the mind, and when it comes out, at that time the mind has no content. It is totally free and it is already purified quite a bit. So, with the strength of such a mind, if you focus on yourself or if you focus on the feeling of I, immediately Manonasa can be achieved. So, we have to make use of the laya that we have achieved through breath constraint or through all the other methods by meditation or whatever. Whenever such a state, we don't stop there, use it to focus on the one thought. And in Bhagavan's Near Marga or direct path, it is that I. Use the strength of such a mind, such a pure mind. See, Bhagavan clearly told all these are purification of mind, but it can be put into proper use at the right time to achieve the final. So, whatever you do jabam, puja, dhyana, You do Hatha Yoga, you do this yoga, Raja Yoga, Karma Yoga, whatever. Ultimately, you cannot, for attaining the final state, you cannot escape the uh, the vichara. You have to at least once, with the help of all these beautiful state achieved by this by this pranayama and other things, the laya state. While you come out of the laya, the mind is content free in a fresh state. At that time, use the brahmastra called "Who am I?" Attack that mind, and before it rises into other conceptual things, and at that fresh state, it will immediately subside because we have already done quite a lot of sadhana. So this is the advantage, making use of the state of manolaya that we have achieved with so much of difficulty, like pranayama and other things. Or Bhagavan has also said, the first thing, be vigilant before going to bed each night. Make it a point. Make it one. Bring about a clear focus that when you wake up, the first thing in the morning is to see who you are. First thing, have this, get etched in your mind. So the moment you wake up from your manolaya state of deep sleep, you wake up and immediately you apply this. Who am I? To who is this? All this happening? To who is this world? Before the feeling of I fully, flowers, fully blooms. Before it happens, so bring in the Brahmastra of who am I and apply. Bhagavan says that's one of the best way, that the gap that is available before we transition from the sleep to the waking state, fully apply this technique. At that time, because it has been in laya, suspension, and it is pure, it is devoid of content. When it comes to when it comes up, before it becomes totally engrossed in world, you have to put this question, who am I, and make use of that laya that we have achieved. Without we didn't do any pranayama or whatever. Just because we were tired, we went to sleep. So this is what Bhagavan says in this sloka 14, saying that make use of that manolaya to focus on one thought and try to attain the manonasa. And once all this is over, the 15th sloka, Manavuru Maya me Manu Mayogi Tanakkosayal illai undi para Tanniyal sadhanan undi para. So what is the state of somebody who's achieved this? Manavuru Maya me Manuma Yogi. For the great yogi who is established as the reality due to the depth of the mind, like how we saw it so far, especially by the 14th sloka, he achieved manonasa, and then on the top of manonasa, he applied, he focused when he was in that nasa, just issuing forth from that manonasa stage, he just focused his mind on the feeling of I, and the mind is dead. For such a yogi who has achieved it, whose mind form is dead, there is not any action to do, because he has attained his nature, the nature of abidance in the self. So for him, there is nothing to do. He has achieved everything that needs to be done. So such great yogi has attained, in our dualistic language, we can say he has attained liberation. So Bhagavan says we are all liberated forever. Only thing we do not know that we are liberated. We force a bondage on ourselves for no reason. That is why we are suffering. Bhagavan has made it very clear. But that's this kind of a yogi who has achieved manonasa, who was very conscious about the state of manolaya and made use of that manolaya state to a very proper, effective way as advised by Bhagavan, and attained manonasa. For him, there is nothing more to do. He's done everything. So this is what so far, sloka 1 to 15, Bhagavan was talking about karma marga, about bhakti marga, about yoga marga, and all that, and the state of of a yogi who has achieved this state. And from the next sloka onwards, the core of Bhagavan's teaching is going to start.